we're so glad that you decided to take out some time from your day to spend in this session regarding Great Thinking, the Bridge to Successful Living. It is an awesome book, an awesome resource by Dr. Finace Bush, an author that we're sitting here with. He's so gracious to give us the inside scoop and kind of give us the behind the scenes of his own life experience and how it really worked to his betterment, how he's been able to see God move in his life based on the things that he's been through. And so we're glad that he's willing to sit with us and talk us through it. But before we jump into our conversation with him, really quickly, some housekeeping things. Take a look at the sign that's next to Bishop Bush, and there's a QR code. When you use that QR code, you can access the book. Go ahead, buy 2, 3, 4, 5 copies. There are some dates, Mother's Day will be here, Father's Day, all these days that we have now, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever it is. If you want to have impact in somebody's life, if you know that there's something that's better for them, something that's calling them to greater, and you just don't know what you could do to help them, giving them this book is a major thing that you can do to help them. And so I encourage you to buy it and distribute it. Get 4 or 5 copies, give them out. I've done that, and I need to replenish my stack so that I can continue to be able to give it to others. Make sure that you subscribe to Finacebush FINACEBUSH subscribe. Click the bell so that you can get notifications. As you're watching these, it's probably going to even be a good rule of thumb to just go ahead and click the like button, because I guarantee you there's going to be something that blesses your life every time. And then importantly as well, share. Make sure that you share the conversation with others so that they can be impacted by what's impacting you. And so, Bishop Bush, we're glad to be here with you.
Honored to have this privilege. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And so we're doing a continuation from our last session. And as we were going out of that session, you were telling us about how God introduced, or maybe even at this point, at that particular point in your life, reintroduced some things to you, and how you began to be able to leverage what he was telling you in order to gain the means that you needed to sustain you in the place that you were in. So can you take us back there?
Yeah. Well, there were things that happened in the initiation of my call where, when I had this visitation from God, and then I said, well, if this is really you, I need you to prove it. And so he proved it. That very same day, he'd said to me in the visitation that there would be no exams. This was the final exams day. So the visitation kept me a little longer than normally I would be in bed. And so he told me that there would be no exams today, so don't even worry about that. And it wasn't raining, wasn't doing anything. But by the time myself and my roommate got up and prepared to go to school, we were running a little late. He was waiting on me. And just as we exited the door, everybody was coming back saying that y'all might as well go back because there's not going to be any exams today. Well, we thought, wow. He looks at me and says, well, Finace, maybe that was a real visitation. So then the two of us decided to go up to Southern Bell on Buford Highway in Atlanta to reestablish our phone lines. And we get there and the place is packed. And so we decide at random that one of us would stand in line, and if it took a significant period, then the other would kind of just substitute, and because there was an empty seat there at a booth. So Edward, and I didn't mean to call his name, but he decided to go ahead and stand in line first. And While he was standing in line, I go sit in the seat and spin around. When I do, there's 5 brand new crisp $100 bills on the floor. Looked like they had just been fresh printed out of the mint. And so I pick it up and I go to raise it up my hand like this and say to the crowd, someone lost $500, and immediately I felt someone grabbing my hand, putting it down. I said, Finace, you can't do that, man. Everybody in here is going to believe that's their money. And so I put it back, and he said, well, if you must, we'll just tell the manager before you leave to go home, and then let's see what the manager says about it. So I take it to the manager. He says no one has claimed money. No one has said they lost any. He said, well, I tell you what, young man, since you're willing to be so honest about it, just go ahead and take the money home with you this weekend, and then you bring it back and check with me Monday when you return to Atlanta. And if no one has claimed it, then you keep it. So I did. I come back. No one claimed it. I kept it. It was mine. I go to school that Tuesday, and I'm sitting in class. I said to the Lord, if this is you, then I don't want any of the residue of finances to be a demand for my parents, because my school cost a tremendous amount, and the scholarship covered but so much because I transferred from the University of Kansas City to the Art Institute of Atlanta. And so I did have some grants to assist me, but at the same time, nothing was working at that time. It just seemed like beyond the scholarship, I was going to need some extra. And I told God, if this is you, I don't want my parents to have to pay not one penny. So I go to school that Tuesday, and I'm sitting there. We're doing finals, and I get called on the loudspeaker to come upstairs to administration, finance. I go up, and I get berated for about maybe 6-7 minutes. The lady that's there, she just goes over it, and she says, you owe this, and you owe that, and we got to have this by then, and this is this. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, here we go. So this must have been something that was still just some kind of dream or something I had, but it's not really reality or not something that I'm supposed to be situationally adjusting to. Although all the weekend, everything that was spoken to me in the visitation was aligned just like he said it would be in New Ullerton, the place that I revisited, and in Aiken, and each of the surrounding communities. Everything he said was done according to the specifications of what was mentioned. But the money thing seemed to be a bigger deal than anything else. But I'm sitting there like this, and then all of a sudden, after she finishes, she said, well, you can go, but you're going to need to get me a date when you'll be able to get the rest of these monies in, or we may have to look at some other measures, regarding you being in school. So anyway, I get up, I'm just as humble, and on my way to the door, just as I make it almost to the door, she looks and she says, oh, I'm so sorry, young man. Finace Bush, would you please come back? I'm just overlooking your name. She opens this folder, and all of this money has come in from multiple sources. And when she finished going over all of the different checks that has come in, I left her office that day with over $1,400 after everything had been satisfied. So that was an experience that you don't forget. Has a lot of other things in it that deals with the call. I avoid it because what we're talking about is different.
Yes, sir.
And then I come home, and everything, I was home about 3 months before I got a job, and I received checks in my parents' mail, sometimes 2 or 3 a day, sometimes 2 or 3 a week, but they always were more than enough for what I needed. In fact, there was such sufficiency and abundancy of monies that came in until it almost looked like I was working for this real lucrative firm. it was coming in from everywhere, every day. So it was like checks, 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 checks. So I would take them and cash them and thank God for them.
Right.
And then the very day I signed on for employment at Savannah Riverside, DuPont, the check stopped. Never received another one after that.
Okay.
So he supplied all of my need,
Right.
and it put me in a place where I never really relaxed in working for myself after that at SRP. I never could really get comfortable because the thing he had started, I thought it was something that I needed to really find out more about, because I said to God, okay, if faith don't work for me, know this, I will never teach it to anyone else. Because it appeared when I was in school, you had all these arguments, because in my college there in Atlanta, you had philosophically every brand of religion or dissertative thought regarding something relative to God that you could possibly hear. And so there was always another debate, another avenue of sophistry, some kind of argument going on about whether God exists. There were atheists, there were agnostics, there were Hindus, everything was in the school. And so I didn't want anything to really do with it unless it was going to be, he was going to prove himself to be true. And that's basically what he'd done over and over. And finally I started relaxing in it. So by the time I'm at the place that we just mentioned, my son and I are in the apartment, and I say to him, I said, Emmanuel, I want you to watch this. I put this, all of a sudden I had this visitation. We're sitting there looking at TV. I said, watch this. This is a blank canvas. I put it on an easel. He's sitting there, and I say, watch what happens with this blank canvas, because I'm seeing this image, thoughts of things. And I'm seeing these images in my mind, and I'm seeing the overlays, and I'm seeing the superimposures, and all of a sudden it starts becoming more definitive. And I hear this word, eagles soar, the eagles soar, and now I have a name for it. And as I'm looking at the names, I'm looking at these not legends yet, but they will be legendary players who reflect from Dr. J to Kareem to Magic to Larry Bird to Michael Jordan. And then I hear this statement, they are welcoming him into the Eagles Club because he now has been identified as someone who has soared like all of these legendary positional talents. And now I have the concept. All of this is in me in the form of words.
Right.
And I say to my son, because I have this conviction to go and get a 24 by 36 canvas, put it there on an easel, and let him watch me sketch out of me. And I start sketching. And the first thing I do is an eagle soaring. The second thing is I turn the eagle into a transposed image of Michael Jordan. He turns into this eagle that's soaring, and he's in the air doing this trademark dunk, you know, Air Jordan. His tongue is out, and he's there in the air. And I don't know if he has the illustration or not, but if he does, he can show it. He's soaring in the air, but now this time, Dr. J is looking up at him. Magic Johnson is looking over at him. Larry Bird is looking up at him. And Kareem, they are welcoming him into the Eagles Club. And now he is embracing, for the first time, a championship trophy. Up until now, he's had everything except a championship trophy, which will now put him in a category of the elite.
Okay.
And that came out of me. And that became fuel for my economy. I turned it into I'm given the procedural grace for it, which in essence means turn it into 1,500 limited edition signed and numbered prints.
Okay.
And as soon as I put it on the market, my economy changed.
Okay. So the procedural grace is the ability to do what you saw.
Inside.
Right.
Whatever happens.
Getting the inside of you to the outside of you.
Yes. Which,
Okay.
Hence, which all ideas begin inside. Thoughts
Okay.
are things as he thinketh in his heart. Why does it always have to be lust? Why does it always have to be something that is going to derail our plight or our pathway? No, 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 no. The things you think are resourceful things that have tangible, retrievable forms of currency. They speak to the definitive side of who you are in the exchange market. If you can stay with them, okay, what all does it take to print money? It takes a machine, it takes ink, it takes workers, it takes electricity, it takes electronics. Look at all the mechanisms and devices that's got to be put together in order to generate this flow of what we call currency. That's why you labor with it inside of you until your faculty hands to you the thing that God wants to bring from within you as a form of currency to supply you.
Okay. And so that currency, this is, so whatever it reminds me of something that I heard someone say a few years ago, a motivational speaker, and you just put it more eloquently. It was like he said one day it came to him, he found himself in a situation where basically his back was against the wall. He knew there were things that he needed to do. He did not know where the money was coming from. He did not know how it was going to happen, but he knew that it has to happen. There's no way around it. I gotta have this money. And all of a sudden he said he realized I am an ATM.
There you go. I love it.
What I need is in me. I just got to figure out what that is that I need to do. And so for you at that time, because I think like he writes, he speaks, so there are different things that he does, and he needed it, but I don't even know if he was writing at that point, but it was like, I have words in me. I need to get them out. You had art in you. You had these things. And so over the years, I suppose, and there was the art, and we're not going to rush through that part. I want to hear about the things, just like about the piece with Michael Jordan and the other greats, basketball greats. But so there's this thing there, it's in you, but it sounds like where a lot of us, it's almost like this discouragement, this despair.
The despair, and this, it's not discouragement, it's disparity, because it comes from a place of the unknown that is ignorance. My people are destroyed for
Go there.
lack of knowledge. So the reason why I make such a big deal out of the preachers wasting their time with things that are not essential to their parishioners' existence is because you are a walking resource. Okay. You have the propensity to monetize your own economy because you are God's graceful gift to you in order to supply you so that you can resource others. The thing is, we're so accustomed through secular means to dealing with life from the outside in that we fail to conceptualize that in the kingdom it's always from the inside out. The kingdom of God is not meat or drink. It's righteousness first, right alignment, then joy and peace. Shalom ends up right alignment. It starts right alignment, righteousness, then joy, which is the strength to obtain the peace peace which surpasses all understanding as it guarantees the mountains of God. But that peace is wholesomeness. Shalom. It brings you to a place where there's nothing missing and nothing broken. So basically what he's trying to tell you through the language, that's a mysterion to those who do not give the measure of thought and study to the things which they hear. They miss it. It's mysterious to them because we just make it or relegate it to be religious thinking. And religion has nothing to do with it at all. It's all about your relationship with God that is designed to show you, Jacob, that even though your father-in-law is misappropriating you, he's tricked you, you worked for 7 years and he lied to you and gave you the daughter that you did not ask for. But still you went back and willingly, because you trusted me to be a servicer of your need, you allowed me to show you what to do with the cattle, where to place them. That comes from within. Wisdom, the wisdom of God is sanctified through Christ within us now. We have that wisdom to walk out the things procedurally that God has given to us by his Spirit. And the Spirit is willing to make known to us all things that has been freely given to us of God, but we got to have a relationship with him that allows him the time to develop in us the distinguishing design of what it looks like when it comes out.
And so people may be thinking, you know, they're at this place where it's like, I don't have the money that I need. I don't have the money, but they have in them what can get that to them. There's this, when they bring out of them what's needed, then it comes.
Money cometh.
Yes.
So let's go there.
Okay.
So now I got the idea, and I'm not working at the site anymore, and I need these economics. When I went to the bank and I was working at the site, they would not give me a business loan. But when God gives me this idea that has a finished product, and I carried the concept with me to the bank, before I can sit good, they've already funded it.
Wow.
So now I not only have resources to initiate my exchange, I have an economy that's established so that my credibility is about to now become an easy avenue of performance that's working for me.
It's crazy that as you're talking, I keep seeing these images as you're talking. So even just now when you were talking about you had gone to the bank and it was a no, it's almost like, but then when you went back, you got it. It's almost like the no wasn't a no, but I saw that N-O that maybe you saw at the beginning, but really there was a T after it and an N-O-W. It wasn't a no, it was a not now.
Right.
It's coming.
Right.
Keep laboring. Keep doing this thing. Keep processing. It's not no, it's not now. And there's that time factor. Even when we were talking about about getting it out of you. You know, earlier when I was thinking about it, I thought about birthing. Like it's like you giving birth to the idea is inside you. Getting it on the outside of you is birthing it. And I was thinking about the pressure that comes with it. A lot of times we tend to think that we'll crumble under pressure, but the pressure is the thing that actually produces, it causes it. It's the thing that makes it come out. And when you were talking a little bit ago, it was like I saw this crushing, like the thing, the essence of it comes out in the crushing. It comes out, it's released in that place of, again, that pressure, that crushing, that something's got to come out. And it's a place of where we're not necessarily, we've left the comfort zone. We feel that pressure, but that's when it's time for it to come out. Just thinking from when you were talking our other session, not today, but the one before on Saturday with the Readers Club. And how you were talking about the place that you were in, which you've alluded to, and we still have to get to, about when your family was split and you were in two different places.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I heard that whole necessity is the mother of invention thing.
Yeah, that's good.
And I looked it up, and actually it was an interpretation of something that Plato said. Our need will be the real creator.
Yes.
Was what Plato said.
Yes.
And so what happens is, again, when you're in that place and there's nowhere left to go, and it's bad that we get there, but there's nowhere left to go but inside you. That's when we tap in.
Providential prodding is what I call it. We think it's we who do it ourselves, but no. It's something that the Spirit stages, the Holy Spirit stages. He's working both the will and the to-do in our lives according to his good pleasure. Good pleasure is the offspring of the pleasure he gets from us by our commitment to walk by faith, for he takes no pleasure in those who draw back. We like to use the term draw back to perdition, as he's really talking about drawing back to unbelief. We trust in him with our heart that he's going to satisfy the demands of our existence. And that's what happened. He took pleasure out of me. I was delighting myself in his word or in his law, and he started giving me the desires of my heart. The more I meditated, I realized, God, you really got a sense of humor. You tricked me. You put the desire in my heart, then you created the desire in me to design it. So you put the design of the desire in my heart, and then you made these things accommodational to your will and purpose for my life, so that they correspond with the grace of who I am, that fulfills and satisfies the demand of my call. So you set me up. You let me walk into this. And now, because of my willingness to obey your will, you show me these extraordinary things that I can't take credit for. And that's why I've never taken credit. I'll tell you something else that happened. He staged all kinds of occasions suddenly where, okay, I'm home now. Before we even get to the Michael Jordans and the Tiger Woods and all that stuff, I get there's this meeting that's about to occur, and I get a chance to meet Marty King, Martin Luther King Jr.'s son, his elder son. We have a face-to-face meeting, and in this meeting, I was so enamored to a part of the conversational exchanges that took place between us.
Let me ask you this. Do you want this to be a cliffhanger and the people come back, or do you want to finish this thought now?
Let me just finish that part.
Okay.
Because I end up being asked if I would be willing to do a commission piece to sow into him at a meeting that he was going to be a speaking engagement. So sure. In the process of doing so, now I've met him, but this time he discovers that I'm an artist, because I get a chance to do the presentation in front of this auditorium of people, filled with people, during Black History Month, and he's speaking, and then we present him this portrait of his father, of the which turned out to be 25 originals that fueled my economy like you would not believe. All of them, I did 25 select pieces of Dr. King featuring him from the various speeches that he did. And it housed different scenes. So a lot of the people that will probably listen to this broadcast have some of those originals, one of the 25, which has really become very pricey, because I only did 25 originals
the ones
back
that
then.
Don't have it, wish they could get it.
Yeah, so that he received the first of the 25, but these were all originals. Yeah. And they really blessed the Bush household and helped me to really establish a very strong economy. So Yeah, that was really a very pleasant thing. I thank God for that visitation and the way He showed me to do it conceptually.
Yes. And so it sounds like once the river started to flow,
Yeah,
that it was coming. And we want to hear more of it, because I think it's encouraging to know. I've said it in past sessions where we see you sit in what you sit in now. We see the presence on you. We see, like, we can tell that there's a standard. We can tell that there's quality. We can tell all that now, but what you're doing is giving us a glimpse of what got you where you are, a glimpse of how these things manifested, a glimpse of what increased your confidence, a glimpse into what, because you said something last time about courage, how sitting with it and the creativity and the thoughts become a conviction, and then they give you the courage to do the thing. And so even if we may start there next time and have you continue to walk us through those things, because God has continued to show you. And even as we speak and as we move forward in 2024, there's even more that's coming out of you based on the creativity that God has placed in you. And so we thank you for just letting us know that our thing may not be the same thing. Lord knows I'm not an artist. I can't, but there's a principle. And that's what we're grasping,
Yeah.
is the principle that leads us to a better life.
And I know we're finishing this segment, but the same thing has been used with me for carpentry, ideas, for plans, for schemes. When it's God and you learn how to follow, the key word you used was the conviction of their reality that lives in you. It wants to come out, but it's going to require you to assign your time to it, because you're the dark room and the chemicals in the lab that blank sheet of paper has to go through until it's developed into essentially what you saw inside of you.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, look, we're so glad you took this time and joined us on that ride. We're not finished. We're not at destination yet, but we're journeying somewhere, and we thank you for going with us. I just want to remind you that if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead, subscribe. Finacebush FINACEBUSH is really important that you do that, or you're going to be missing some things that you thought you could just pop up at the other YouTube page, but now you need to do it. You need to do this YouTube channel so that you can get all the information. Like it, share it, subscribe, click the bell, all those things, do it. Every time you click like, it actually does generate something. It helps to build some steam. So make sure that you do that. Hit that like button. And with the sign here, the QR code, make sure that you access the book, send it out to others, be a blessing in somebody's life. Am I forgetting anything, Bishop Bush? The Readers Club is every third Saturday at 9 a.m. That's a live session, and you'll have opportunity to do questions. Even as you see this, put things in the comments. Feel free to write things in the comments if you have questions, if there's something you want to know, even though it's not done in real time, like right now. People are going back to look to see what's there so that we can make sure if it's something that hasn't been addressed, that Bishop Bush can address your question. And because you're probably not the only one that has that question. But we thank you for spending this time with us.
And you do have the hardcover editions that can be purchased as well.
Okay.
They come along with the comment section where you can write the note section
Okay.
in between each chapter.
Okay.
Also, the books are sold or can be purchased everywhere books can be sold.
Okay.
So they're all over the place.
Okay.
They're not hard to get. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, everybody sells the book. And in fact, we've got some shows that's going to be coming up soon at a variety of the markets throughout the area.
Okay.
So keep your ears open because
Yes.
they'll be coming as well.
Yes. All right. Well, there you have it. And we just look forward to the next time that we get to spend time with you. But until then, apply this word, and live a better life.